Oh, okay.
Alrighty, are we good?
We're good.
Okay. My name is Matthew Jarrett. Those on Wet Canvas know me as XQB. It's a very long story. My demo is going to be a little bit different from what we've seen so far. Not so much execution as philosophy. I was asked to do a demonstration based on some of the work I've done lately on reflectivity. And folks will confuse reflectivity. They'll think, and the first thing I think of is I think Rod's chrome. If you're going to do chrome, though, if we're going to talk chrome, then I'm going to abdicate the throne to Rod, and he's going to sit here and talk for many, many, many hours on chrome. So I'm going to take a little bit different approach based on a couple of the pieces I've done here lately. We mentioned reflectivity, and I'm rather than a mirror finish like on chrome, I'm talking about blending your reflective surfaces a little bit, and with reflected light. Because I'll use as an example this recent piece I did of the Corvette, which we've all seen online at Timer 3. Some of the lines, on the side shot of the car here, you'll see a lot of splotches of light that seem very, very random, that seem to be used more to define the shape of the car than they are to actually reflect the light and the source light. But as this was a portrait and this was something done for a specific person, I took the photograph in his area, I reflected the lights per the photograph so as to the environment is recognizable as well. You'll see on the front fender of the Corvette, you'll see the garage, the bay doors reflected.
Could you bend it towards me just a little bit?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Bad glare? Would it be easier if I took it out of the sleeve?
It probably would be.
We can do that. We can do that.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, much better.
We're all doing the wave, get it out of the sleeve. But you'll see on the fender of the car, as an example, you'll see the bay door reflected. You'll see the overhead lights reflected, which even to me, having done the item, looks like random splotches of light. But folks that know the area have said, "Hey, you took that shot in the bay. I know where it is." So it's familiar to the client, and the client, as a result, had that much more of an affinity for the work. But as far as the reflections themselves, obviously the biggest and most important tool in reflections is your photo reference. And I take my own photos. I don't worry about obtaining permission or anything of that nature. And I brought with me here a couple of photos, prints, obviously cheap laser printer prints, that I took at a local motorcycle dealership. And they let me run free. I've got a couple of pieces of work posted there, and they just let me photograph and do anything I want to in there. And you'll see in either of these reference photographs, you'll see a very great deal of reflected environment. You'll see in several pieces, you'll see, like back here on one photograph, you'll see a reflected checkerboard floor pattern. You'll see ugly mug of the photographer reflected in the gas cap cover, things of that nature. And all of these things reflect the environment, so they help us to teach, they help us to communicate to the client that the piece is unique to them. Not so much about a technique or what kind of stroke do I use to portray a light or to portray an image or anything of that nature. We've all done portraits. We've all got our own way of illustrating certain items. But when it comes to reflected light, when I'm looking at the highlights, I look at the overhead lights in this gas tank as an example, and if anybody wants to pass around and take a little gander, I'm sort of the go big or go home school. I'm not going to sit there trying to get a bright white highlight. I'm not going to sit there and make a million little bitty scratches with a surgical scalpel or an X-Acto knife. I'm going to find out where my highlight goes, like I did here, and I'm going to say, we've got another highlight down the side here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to fill in a bright white highlight. And obviously, mistakes are pretty easy to correct in this medium. So it's like what Rod's doing with the plein air. It's just having the courage to go in there and just throw your line work at it, just throw yourself at the artwork and have faith in where it's going to lead you. But if I may, thank you. But if I look simply at a photograph and I say I've got the rough of the gas cap sketched in here on my source piece, I've got another bright piece up here. Now, if it's a softer edge item, the one we threw in here is a very hard edge, very, very linear sign, an overhead light reflected. But on a bright spot like we've got here, I'm going to take a little bit different approach to it. I'm going to go, since it's not a hard line, it's a softer edge. I'm going to take, and this is all obviously however a certain person pleases to do it. But I'm going to do a very light crosshatch with the big nib, and then I'm going to go in with the fiberglass. And I'm literally just going to worry away at that little dude. I'm going to expand him and I'm going to grow him until he's got the general shape I want.
I think our power's going to go out the second time.
And I've got a nice soft edge spot, as opposed to, again, just what we have here, which is simply a reflection of an overhead light. So it's just different techniques, different ways of approaching things. And it's all about two things for me. It's trusting my photo reference and believing that it's going to communicate what I'm trying to do, and then just diving in feet first and committing to a particular approach. And I said it would be a short demo, but now I just want to answer questions if anybody's got any.
Where'd you get the fiberglass brush?
This I got through Micromark.
Micromark?
And I ordered 3 of them at $14 or whatever shipped each. And the day after I got them, I got the email from Micromark that it was bogus. Buy one, get one. So timing is everything. Shop carefully. But I won't trade it for anything. When it comes to softening the edges of those highlights, that's the only tool that works. At least for me.
And order the refills at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you. That was another Matthew mistake.
Fast as a bigger 10 refills.
Wow.
Those 12 refills.
I used that too for the portraits.
Yeah,
I'm not using it tomorrow. That's,
Yeah, they work.